Imagine with me, if you will, it's your first day to go trading live. You've been trading your demo account and doing all of your practices, your market replays. You have gotten all psyched up to get ready to go. You've loaded up your account and you are going live. And your first trade out of the gate is a double cross, double move. You are so excited, one of our favorite plays around here, but something goes wrong with that double cross, double move play. Stay with me here. I'm going to show you guys what happens if you get on the wrong side of a double cross, double move. That's a tricky one. We had this example here today. I'm going to talk to you guys about the story of one of our members who this exact thing happened to them. And for you to be able to avoid this same scenario, let's get into it here this evening. Come on down to our training window. Here we go. All right, so let me pull over what I would call a hard study on a double cross, double move. Let's get this thing pretty large. And this is the case of a scenario where one of our members had just gone live and first trade of the day. This shows up. Let me scroll over to the right as though you can't see what's happening here to the far right. But you get this play set up right here, right? So imagine you get this move. Now look at the time of day, right? You know, one of the things we got to look at is what's our time of day? 9:39, right? Well, we're not in that 5-minute window of no trade zone there at the morning. So everything should be fine so far. You see this setup coming in and boom, you've got, not only do you have the double cross, you have the help of what's inside of there. You've got a green cross. What's going on with that? This is the alpha omega green cross. Now, this should already kind of start to clue you in that this might not be a standard double cross, right? This is not just a play straight up double cross, but both of these show up first, and then you get this one right here, right? So what happens when you have two crosses, then a third shows up? What is this? When this is in a location, you should automatically be thinking what? Pop quiz. If you said cluster, give yourself a giant gold star. And before we go any farther, make sure you smash that like button for us. And if you want to see more videos like this, if you're new with us, subscribe. We're going to talk about a lot of our play setups here, but this one particularly tonight, this is a little bit of a tricky one. You can already see something going on with this play setup. You know that when one of these comes in and at a 12.9, that's not just a standard 10, okay? It's a little bit beefier. And I don't say a little bit because remember, these are in hundreds or thousands depending on what the instrument is. This is on RTY, so this is going to be in the hundreds, but you're talking about a significant difference in the numbers of the offset here. And this is a 12.9 inside of this. So you already know that this has kind of now become a cluster almost instantly. And this, if you are a person starting out with a $2,500 account, again, I'm going to do another video on this later this week, next week, probably Tuesday evening, come back and we're going to be talking about starting with that absolute minimum account. I'm going to briefly touch on this here for a moment. Remember, folks, this is the absolute minimum, and I do not recommend this. I would like to stress this one more time. Some of you guys who keep saying, oh, I'm coming in, I'm going to do my $2,500 account. You're acting like that's what I suggest. Folks, I am not suggesting you start with $2,500. I do not know why so many people are obsessed with this number. It's as though I almost wish I had never even told you guys what the absolute minimum was. I'll be honest, because so many of you, like, you don't have to start with 2,500, but you do it anyways. And here's the thing. This is like a back against the wall type of scenario. You're literally with 2,500, you can only do 5 contracts on the low side of things. You cannot do 5 contracts on NASDAQ. So it limits you not being able to trade the NASDAQ as well. A lot of things that this is a dangerous situation with, but when you start here and then you have a play like this, okay, I have tried to stress, yes, of course, I did the small account challenge and I started with the $2,500 just to show that, yes, it is actually possible. But remember, my whole goal of getting out of that $2,500 is to sprint, get out of this $2,500 scenario as quickly as possible. And remember, you have to be extremely careful, all right, with your trades at this point. You cannot be putting on risk. Like, you have to be extremely risk averse, right? Now, again, like, we are all about risk management with our trade setups, and risk is now increased simply because you have started out with this. Like, you have no wiggle room. You get your first trade. If your first trade is a loss, you no longer have 5 sizes to work with, right? And this is one of our keys to our success, being able to increase our trade size from trades 1 through 5. This goes away on your first one as a loss. And this scenario happened to one of our members. Starts with 2,500. Here we go again, right? The absolute minimum. And yet at the same time, what's the difference between minimum and recommended? for a minute. Like you guys, if you are buying a PC, how many of you guys know you could go out there and you're looking at software and you look at the back of the box and it's like, what are the minimum requirements for the software, right? It's telling you like you could run it on an old school Celeron, you know, back from 1998, right? That's the minimum. Just because it is the absolute minimum doesn't mean it's recommended, right? There's also the recommended option off there on the right usually. And what's our recommended? 8K, right? And really, if you're absolutely at the minimum, the absolute low recommended is 5K, because then at least with 5K, you can trade NASDAQ, right? So when you're down here on the 2500, you have to understand you have decided that you want to start in the absolute worst place possible. And I am going to tell you that then you must have the utmost confidence in your ability to execute. All right, I'm going to get off of that soapbox here. I'm going to come back to that in that other video. But he's starting out with a 2500, so he's in the worst case scenario of all time. And then this play setup comes up. This is not a perfect setup, right? Can you take this with a $2,500 account? Let's ask that question. Can you take this with a No. I mean, can you? Yes. Am I going to suggest it? No. Remember in the small account challenge, please go back and watch my small account challenge where I went against Ross Cameron, we live streamed the entire thing. Watch when I start out with that 2500. What do I say? I am very extreme level picky, especially on my first level trades, because I've got to get away from this with my back against the wall. I've got to get off of this 2500. Those first couple of trades have got to be winners. That's my mental state, okay? So if a play like this shows up, a mixed bag, you've got to be very, very careful. Now, is there anything wrong with taking this if you're not in the 2500? No. In fact, would I take this trade? Yes. Every single day, I would probably still go ahead and take this trade. And initially, I would be getting short on this play. Nice straight leg, right? We've got our trap set up here. You can see a trap, you know, looking up, boom, wrecked them, come down really quick. We've got our double cross setup coming in here. Sure, I'm going to take this as a double cross initially, but remember, because it's not a perfect double cross, I've got to be looking for some exits before we hit the gold line. Now, let's see how this played out. Let's move over, and I'm going to scroll to the right here now. Now we see the finished product of this play. So we get the trap, great, come through, boom. And where is our expectation? We expect this to come down to the gold line. This is our ultimate target. So while we love these trades, they've got big R plays, because where's our stop on this? Just pop quiz, you should know. Double crossover move, stops right back behind the crosses. So you're entering right here, your stop is right there. Little bitty tiny stop, there's your risk, right? So the R reward, very, very large compared to the risk, right? Should be a great risk reward play in general, right? So this play shows up. Now, as this starts to come up, you know, you start to get a little bit nervous as this comes down and ends up coming back up, right back to your point of entry, right about here. But you should still not be sweating this play out. You're okay. But then boom, we got another cross showing up in here. This is our first signs of, okay, this is not going to be a pure straight play down to the golden ropes like we like. This is what we want to see with the perfect double cross double move. We get these all the time, and I'm going to show you guys a way to, you know, mentally give yourself these flashcards in your head here at the end of this. So stay tuned to the end of this to make sure that you see that, what I mean by the flashcards and how many of those you need to be having saved up in your own folders, and look in ours. We have a whole folder that I'm going to show you guys where you can go and look at the ones that we've saved for you, as well as creating your own as you're going through your market replay and practice. But so if this play starts to set up here and you start to see, okay, I've got additional crosses coming in. This is a classic one right here, and I'll show you what I mean here in a moment. This is actually the major problem right here. This type of cross, when it's down below this section and it comes in like this, this tends to be a problem. And I'll show you in a video here in just a moment where I've given an example of this, where one of our, another member, Whiskers, had taken one of these plays as well. And I show how one of those, I'm going to be backing out half of my position on a cross that shows up in between my entry and the golden cross, I'm sorry, the gold line down here. Okay, I want to be taking some off right here. I want to take off how much? Half. I'm at least taking half off of this position, because at this point, now we have diminished our probabilities right here on our edge, because our edge is when we're not getting these in the way, and we're definitely not getting this much space before we start that drop. And I'm going to show you guys example after example of double cross, double moves of which ones are good. So you may not be understanding right now, but you will later on. I'll talk to you guys about how they teach bankers how to detect counterfeit bills. They don't teach them by showing them fake bills. They show them they teach them how to detect counterfeit by knowing what a real one looks like. All you need to do is know what a real double cross, double move looks like, what real money looks like, and then when a counterfeit gets put in your hand, you're going to know the difference, and you're going to know, hey, something's up here, right? So first of all, you should be able to recognize this is kind of a counterfeit double cross, double move, because that's not, there's something phony about this one to begin with, because you got 3 right there, which means this is a cluster, number 1. But if you're going to continue to play it as a double cross with an enhancement, because you have a, you do have the delta spike, which is good, okay? And we've got that omega cross here. So again, really, would I power this up? Sure. Am I gonna take this play? Yes. Am I gonna take half off right here though? Yes, absolutely. And this was even worst case scenario for this trader on his first day in, and with back against the wall. His computer freezes here at this time as well. He said that the market like came in super fast, a bunch of, I don't know. Sometimes this occurs. It just, it just sounded to me like the worst case scenario of all time. Like, how is it on your first day, you're going into it and, your system just locks up on this one day, and he says he's had no problems at any other time, but for whatever reason, he says it hangs up right here. This thing wrecks him back the other way, and doesn't get stopped out back here, ends up taking a full 25 tick stop off of his trade, and he had gone in heavy on his first trade of his $2,500 account, right? Max you can do is 5. He goes in 4 contracts. Okay, so 4 contracts. Look, if you're going 4 contracts on your first trade on 20, it better be perfect. Okay, and this just started out not being perfect. Dangerous type of scenario here, little fuzzy to begin with, and at the same time he was in positive territory there for a while. He not for very long. I mean, look at the time here. I think this happened very, very quickly. From here, this is 9:39 all the way through this section, and then here's 9:41. So this is 2 minutes of time. Although again, if you're counting seconds, that's still a lot of time in my opinion. But I don't know. He said like everything kind of froze up on him. He ends up getting a big fat stop back here of 25 ticks full. Which that's more than $1,000 loss on 4 contracts, 25 ticks popping back on you like that. Really hard way to start out with 20. I mean, he's got to go on a reload on his first trade of the day, and that's just a bummer. Like, and then he's not going to do a wire transfer, then he's going to have to wait multiple days for an ACH transfer. It's such a detraction from getting off on the right foot, right? And I've told you guys, when you are starting and you're going live, you want to get started off on the right foot. It's just, you get started off bad, then you stumble. You get that first step off, and then things just don't go well. It's just really bad scenario, and I want to talk about it here, not to beat up on the person, but so that other people can avoid these mistakes and situations, right? So, okay, so what about this play right here? Simple thing. If I saw this, here's how I would normally play this. Sure, I'm still going to go ahead and try this short. There's nothing wrong. We haven't gone into the 940 to 950 reversal period. Again, there's that 10-minute window between 940 to 950 where there could be a potential big reversal. This one happens to land right here. That's at the 41 marker. Okay, so at 941, is that in the reversal zone? Yes, it is. This ends up being the worst case scenario for a person trying to take this play, and this thing rips back the other way. He doesn't get to take half off here. I asked him, did he get a chance to take it? He said he couldn't even see all this because he said the whole thing was locked up. This is a after picture from him that he sent over. So just worst case scenario. Honestly, it was very disheartening to have to hear his story and scenario. Worst case scenario of all time. Like I can't even imagine how that's gonna. I mean, it's not the end of the world. It's $2,500, but just really sucks. He's been working on his stuff, ready for months, and then first trade out, this occurs, and a few mistakes are made, going a little bit too big. I don't even say a little bit, way too big, probably on his first play when it's not perfect. If this is a perfect one, if this is double cross, man, that would be awesome because he could have kicked off his account with that's a $1,500, $2,000 play if this gets all the way down to there on 4 contracts. So if this was pure and the green one wasn't there, if this was maybe 2 minutes prior and we weren't here at this 941 spot where this comes in, or if he even took off half right here, he's looking at, that's about an $800 move right there. So good good jump if he had been able to take off half that position, even if the other part comes back up. Sorry, no, it wouldn't be 800 on that. It would be about 400 because of half. So he's taken off half right there. This would have popped back up. He could have closed out the position because right about here, you're going to hear AlgoBox kicking in. He's going to know he needs to close out this position before you start to come back here. But worst case scenario, this is a plus some and minus a little, and he's still going to be positive up on his first trade. But this was a classic tough one. Now, last thing, I know it feels like I'm, beating the dead horse, but I want you to get this big time. If you've got this double cross double move coming in, here comes price coming down like this, and you see this little floating thing, okay, a floater and then a cross, okay? So your double crosses are back here, okay? This comes down like this. This first one, if this is coming and it looks like this, visually, this right here, again, what is this? How much am I taking off? Half. Everybody got that for your notes? This is what should be in your notes. If you get a scenario like this, just real simple, straightforward. I went through the whole story of one of our members there, but again, just don't want that to happen to you. Right off the bat, this right here, half off right there with that cross. If it does break the bottom of that cross, you can add back. You guys know I've told you, if it breaks through, boom, great, and you can hold it all the way out to that gold line. Now, I'm going to show you one here in just a minute where that worked out perfectly. Why I take off half? Because you're like, well, Vinny, if I know this is going to go straight up like this, then, why would I take that off? Well, it doesn't always happen like that. But what ends up happening, you guys remember the four-legged dog. Okay, if you guys have seen our four-legged dog scenario, you get 1, 2, 3, 4. This ends up making that little head and up. I'm referring back to one of our other videos. Go watch the four-legged dog trap strategy to see that. And that's what actually ended up happening to him on this play right here. And that's what you want to avoid the potential of. If you get that cross down there, good sign that we may go ahead and pop that reversal. Easy way to take half, and then take off some here at your point of entry. Or even if you did take a little bit of a loss from the entry point, that's okay. You're still coming away with some positive off of this. Okay, so take a note of this. Ready? Now I'm going to go to a scenario where this did make it all the way through, but it wasn't at that 940 to 950 reversal scenario that he had right there. All right, let's play the next one. Okay, so this one here is Whiskers, one of our great traders here in the room, been with us for a while, and he's laying out, showing his kind of specialty is this 940 to 950 reversal. We've got several videos on this. I'm going to do a separate video specifically on 940 to 950. I've never done that. Somebody brought that up in the room the other day. That I've done 4 different videos where that's been inside of it, talking about other things, but not a specific 940 950 reversal video. So that one is coming out next Thursday. So you want to come and make sure, again, if you haven't done so, subscribe and hit that like button. Thanks. Let's go on this play. Now, this is a video here. Let's play this through. We've talked about this before, and let's run through it here. I can't see the timing because I think I zoomed in too much. This is an old video here. Let's see. Oh, sorry, it was not the reversal up. This was the down reversal at right at 940. So right at 940, the turning point back up. Wow, that was only a minute later. Look how fast. Okay, this was NASDAQ. Very fast play here. Look at the time. This was 940. All of this was literally less than a minute and a half. That is a lot of money to make in a minute. Okay, so same type of scenario that one of our other members had, right? Very, very quick plays right there at the 940, but this is on NQ. That other one was RTY. So watch what we have right here, right? Do you see the play where we've got what I just talked about? You got the down leg, you got the double crosses, you kind of get the down, and then boom, you see that cross right there? This is that scenario I'm talking about. 2 crosses, and then you got one down here. Price coming down into it. Okay, got to be careful sometimes. That sucker can shoot off like this, right? You'll hear me in this video go, I would have probably taken some off right there, but this ends up making it all the way. You can actually kind of eyeball measure this. He did not get a measure on this. Again, you don't always have to do that. You can kind of estimate, not hard to necessarily do that, but I like to be precise with these because I also, what do I like to do when we hit that gold line? Pop quiz. What do I do with that gold line right there? I love taking a little, scalper play off of that, getting 5 or 10 ticks off of that bounce. And sometimes you get more like this one right here. All right, so let's play it through. Let's listen to what we've talked about in the past. All right, sorry, a little rusty trying to press the wrong little arrow there. Okay, so we talked about how this is just 1 minute. This whole play started from up here. We had a headshot inside of a PRZ. That's what his first play was right there with the MACV. And then this traverses all the way through. He's got the timing line down move, boom, double cross, double move on through. So this was a multi multi-entry play here for Whiskers, but again, I'm focusing here on having seen this twice now with our little double cross, with a little single cross right there, in a scenario where, look, it still worked out here. So I want to show you both scenarios. So this is why we do half, because again, as this breaks through, we can, I mean, this is still good money right here. This is still a good 15 ticks from that spot right there down to there. So, you know, even if you were to add back to that position, you know, yes, you lost maybe, oh, you didn't hold a little bit. Okay, you lost a little bit, right? You didn't get the extra profit from right there. It's not going to be a loss, but, you know, that's profit you didn't get to take, you know, take into. Well, I can't talk here tonight. It's Friday, it's late, and I've been up late trying to do all this code, trying to get that new release out, and I'm exhausted. I'm making excuses here for my inability to come up with words at the moment. Very tired, so give me a break, but I'm coming back next week refreshed, and I'm looking forward to some more videos with you guys. I haven't put out a video in 2 weeks, so I'm very rusty. Okay, enough of my excuses. All right, so we're pushing back in here on this play here. Easy play all the way down to the golden line. Let's hear it the rest of the way out as I've explained this.
That is a lot of money to make in a minute, you know what I'm saying? That is a hot minute right there. So he crushed it on the headshot. Then he comes back and he said double cross, double move. Didn't even take any heat. Look, the stop goes right there, right above the cross. Look, those didn't even traverse and cross that. Wow, amazing play there. Big drop down. He didn't get the measurement on it, but again, I told you guys before, you can kind of eyeball these things. If you see the pivot right here, right, we know where the pivot's going to be. Pivot, there's a start. Again, right on king timing, no surprise there, right? Boom, we begin the drop. Now we got our double cross, double move for our first play. Do we want to take that? Yeah. Now the hardest part is playing through that white cross right there. So I'm probably going to take some off. I'm going to take off half my position at the cross right there when I see that cross show up.
All right, so this is an old video of me, and you heard what I said, right? I am going to take off half my position on a cross like that shows up. These just make me nervous when this occurs. Again, I love a pure double cross, double move. I love double cross, double moves. You guys know, one of my favorite plays. You know, I'm looking to take that nearly every single time. If I get an opportunity to take a shot at it, it's such a great R play. Even if it's a loss, I do not care. It's such a small loss compared to the wins. Again, just to reiterate one more time, right? You know, look, there's your stop. There's your entry. Here's your risk. And look at the reward. I mean, who would not take this as often as you possibly can? Okay, so you know, I'm always going to be jumping in on this, but you heard me say it again, even in my old videos, same thing, always consistent with what we say here. This is the spot. I'm going to take off half that position. This is an example where it still works out all the way. I'm going to listen to myself from the past. Looks like I got more energy there and not messing up my words, so I'm going to let my past self continue to speak here through the rest, walking this through.
Will, especially at this time of day. I'll take off half right there, ride the rest all the way down, and look at that crusher. We got double cross, double move, yeah, all day long. And what's going to happen right there at the gold line? Look, do you see the free money scalp? Question of the night. Do you see the free money scalp off of the bounce on the gold line? If you have not picked up on this, put it in your notes, try it out, do it in sim, see what I'm talking about, and then execute it in live when you are comfortable with it. Everybody got that? Next. Well done there, Whiskers. Absolutely crushing it. How do you do that day? 8K? Wow. 8,600 there. 100% profitable. I mean, look at these stats.
All right, so I'm going to cut this one right there. Hopefully you guys got something from that. Watch out for that tricky double cross, double move play setup. Make sure you guys are here for the next video. You're not going to want to miss it. I've got lots of good ones coming up next week. Particularly, I am back, finished up with taxes on the 17th and all that kind of good stuff. I cannot wait to get back into it with you guys. Have a fantastic weekend. From my house to yours, blessings, and I will give you that H-Town. See ya.